Yo, what is going on, y'all? J Trades here, back in our brand new review video, and in today's stock review video, I will be actually going over my trades that I took today. It's been a while since I've done one of these update videos, but that's mainly because I've recently been focusing more of my time on the Forex industry rather than the stock market option trading. So there's many reasons as to why I decided to do this, mainly just to focus on Forex, but there's plenty of other reasons, but I'm not going to get into those today. Today, I will be going over the 3 or 4 trades I took today in the Forex exchange market. So let's get straight into it. So first off, the first trade I took today was this morning, which was gold right here. I love trading gold, man. Let me tell you something, boys. Gold is a very volatile pair, if you guys want to call it a pair. It's not really a pair, but very volatile market. So it really depends how you trade it. People do take big losses on gold, but personally, if you can read gold, gold is the best mover for sure because of how easy it picks a certain direction. So usually I get up around 9 o'clock to check the markets. You know, market does open at 8 o'clock for a New York session, if you guys didn't know that. EST time zone, of course, but I usually get around 9 o'clock because that's when I see most volume pickup and volatility, just based on all my back testing history. So I like to take my trades usually between 9 to 12 and then no later than 2. After 2, volume completely dies out. I stop trading. So with that out of the way, let's get straight into the first trade. So today, as you guys can see earlier in the pre-market, or you guys can call it pre-market if you want, around 8 to 9, basically you can see it was just like jumbling here. Honestly, was not doing too much. You can see you could have taken some of these bounces off here, but look at this choppy price action right here. This is really, really bad price action to be trading with. I would never trade any of these at all. This is just not tradable at all. I would not trade that at all. So yeah, as you guys see, that's super bad choppy price action earlier in the morning today, and this is even on the 1 minute time frame. It's just this choppy, which is horrible. So yeah, so I was just ignoring all this noise. This is all noise right here. We want to mainly catch the big moves. Gold loves to make the big moves in the first hour from 9 to 10 usually it's around this time. Sometimes it does it a bit earlier and you can hop into a continuation trend, but just for today's purposes, I will go over the trade I took earlier this morning and I caught a massive banger. This is a super good risk to reward ratio trade as well, which I almost always catch in the morning. So yeah, honestly, you could retire off of this one trade, but you know, I kept on going for a little bit, see more better setups. Anyway, nonetheless, as you guys can see, it was just doing its own thing over here earlier in the morning, and then when it came down here, that's when I started seeing, okay, it's starting to pick more of a, you know, a trend. It's starting to pick like a direction. So when I see this, first off, I like to go to a bigger time frame before I do anything. So let's check out the bigger time frame right here. So let's see. All right, so bigger time frame, as you guys can see on the 5 minutes, it's not really a big time frame, but I tend to try to ignore like even bigger time frames over here, just because I think creates a lot of confusion amongst traders. There's almost always an up and down direction throughout the day in the market, so you guys can always make money going up and down, shorting and longing. So I try to ignore that. I try to focus on what most recently happened previously before this move happened. So I was looking at this previously where it was a bull trend, right? This is clearly a bull trend. Is going up, making lower highs or higher highs, higher lows, and then all of a sudden this market structure breaks. And how do I know this market structure breaks? Well, usually I like to use trend lines. So as you guys can see, it was kind of respecting this trend line over here. It did break out here real quick, but of course this is a big fake out right here. Liquidity grab, you guys want to call it a liquidity grab, don't really matter what you call it, but these 2 wicks are horrendous. Like, this is horrible price action right here. These 2 wicks, never trade those ever, because you can easily take a fat L super fast, as you guys can tell. But anyway, that would literally just be gambling. But anyway, nonetheless, you guys can see basically a broke market structure around here. So I was looking to see, okay, market has slowly shifted to a downtrend now, because you guys can see it's almost a double top here as well. So pretty big indicators that we are moving in towards a downtrend. So when I see a downtrend, I honestly like to start playing reversals, because I'm a reversal trader. I like to play the beginning of the reversal. So now if I woke up earlier, I could have caught this at 9 a.m. honestly, but honestly, again, I wanted to wait more for it to set up. I didn't want to jump in too early. So of course it was already in a downtrend, so I'm honestly waiting for a continuation pattern, and so therefore I basically waited for this breakout right here that's going to happen. There's 2 confirmations here, first of all, or 3 confirmations actually. First of all, recently changed into a downtrend, which means really good risk to reward ratios. Second of all, it has also broken this trend line over here. I like to use trend lines. I've done a lot of back testing on them and they do work quite well 80% of the time. So break a structure, if you guys want to call it that. I know a lot of people use different ways to measure break a structure, but personally I like to use trend lines. So this right here will be a break a structure to the downside. Another confirmation was downtrend overall. And third of all, another confirmation, last but not least, is this zone right here. This basically became supply. This previously was a demand zone, which broke out of pretty easily. So when I saw that, it basically means this zone is really weak. Most of the limit orders inside this zone are already filled. Therefore, it's super easy to break. Nonetheless, basically, once we broke through this demand zone, it then became a supply zone because sellers were like, okay, this is a good price to sell out now. So basically, with those three confirmations, I decided to get in. Now, when I get in, we need a good entry, right? We need confirmation. So I got in near this candle right here. Right when this candle closed right here, I got in. Now, I usually like to enter a bit later or a bit earlier. It really depends on how the setup and price action is live. You want to see how the candles move, the momentum, and many other things. For example, on this, let's say I usually like to see momentum slowing down. You want to see this live. So if momentum slowing down over here as it gets close to supply zone, if you see price action moving super slow, then I could possibly enter early here, because as I can see, there's also another point of interest here, right here. So these are very close levels, points of interest. So I definitely could have took shorts over here, honestly, ahead of time. It would have been obviously more risky, but the risk to reward would have been a lot higher as well. Again, really depends, but to be safe, I like to keep my entries once it breaks structure. So right here, it broke structure. Now, usually what happens to price is it usually retest this level, but as you guys can see, there was no really gap and such, so they didn't really retest the level that much. It went up a little bit for a little pullback, but didn't really fully retest this full level, and then just went dropping straight down. So usually in the morning, I noticed that gold doesn't really like to retest levels that much in the morning. When there's super high volatility, price does not care. Price just wants to go that direction. So that explains why that happens. So as you can see, I got in here basically. That was my entry. Stop loss, of course, above the previous high. This is basically where I always put my stop loss, not necessarily at a percentage. Of course, I do have a percent that I would risk. So I would change my size of this trade position depending on my stop percent. So as you guys can see, my stop percent is 0.20%. So I do the calculation with leverage, and that will determine what size I use on each trade. Not every trade I use the same size. All depends on the stop loss, because you want to consider risk before you get into a trade. You don't want to consider reward. You want to consider risk first. So that's always number one. So anyway, nonetheless, I knew my stop was around here. Put the stop loss above the previous high. If it honestly broke above here, then this could have been a continuation of whatever, some sorts. It could have been going up all the way over here and then possibly coming down, or it could just keep blowing up, because overall gold is on a very bullish market sentiment. So you want to avoid that. You want to be careful with that. So I have a tight stop loss right above this wick right here, and then my reward is clearly targeting the lowest zone possible. So when I say this is basically in the morning, I realized gold likes to break through zones very early. So as you guys can see, easily broke through this zone. So I'll target the next zone, the second zone usually. Sometimes even it would go to the third zone. Pretty rare, but sometimes it does. Really depends on price action on that day. Again, I've seen days where it's just so dead and it barely even goes to the next zone. So it really depends. But again, you want to see the percentage, right? You want to get used to different markets, different things, to see how each market moves, how much each market typically moves. So I know gold usually drops. If it does drop or pump, usually about around 1%. So my target was close to around 1%, which is pretty damn good. But yeah, that's honestly a really good risk right there. Oh, I guess that one right there. Anyway, the trade's still going on, or no, not trade. The stocks or whatever, forex still going on. But nonetheless, man, this was a great trade. Risk reward ratio 4.33. That's insanely good. Most trades, I will let you guys know, most trades that traders take, no matter what market it is, most trades, if you're day trading, will be 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 risk to rewards. Very rare to find 1-to-3 or higher, unless you're trading again in the morning or very super volatile or price action is very clear. Otherwise, throughout the day, especially 1-to-1 is pretty common for risk to reward ratios. Of course, you want to target the big risk to reward ratios. That way we can mimic our losses. We can have 4 losses essentially of this size with this risk to reward ratio and be break even, honestly. So This helps us prevent losing our capital while maximizing gains. So really good trade, honestly, super smooth trade. As you guys can see, it did not break the trend line at all. And basically I got out when it broke the trend line. So right here, it was consolidating here and it made a double bottom here, which is a clear sign of a reversal most of the time. So I got out around here. But my first target was literally down here because, you know, usually I know people would set targets about like, oh, 1 to 1, I'll have a target at 1 to 1, 1 to 2. What I like to do is just trade off what the market gives me. The market clearly was going down super fast. This is within minutes, guys. This is, let's see, 10 minutes, 10-minute super big 1% drop. So clearly the market picked a certain clear direction and it was not stopping at all. So why would I stop? Why would I take partials off this position? You know, kept on riding until the bottom, until it broke structure. So overall, basically I took profits around the 3.65 risk reward ratio. But again, you know, you guys can calculate all that yourself. Point is, super excellent trade in the morning. Now the next trade I took was on NAS. So I was waiting a little bit towards like after lunchtime. Lunchtime's around 12 o'clock ish. So I was waiting till, you know, everyone comes back and such from lunch. But nonetheless, here's the trade I took on NAS. Right here, I love trading NASDAQ, US 100. These are my main two ones I basically trade for Forex. I try to focus on two things at a time. I don't like to focus on too many things, but this was the trade I took, and I'll tell you guys the reason why. So let's first go to a bigger time frame. I always love doing top-down analysis. All right. So overall, yes, we are in a very bullish market, right? So it is not wise to be taking sells. However, I noticed this was a really good setup that I was looking for. And as you guys can see previously, it's been selling down a good amount. Now you guys can see obviously it's pumping up now. Insane, crazy, right? But there's still ups and downs in a bull market or a bear market, vice versa. So I found out a super good opportunity right here. It was at the top of a zone, first of all. Tons of rejections at this level, as you guys can see. If you guys go back in time, you can find more levels that rejected there as well. Again, this is basically a liquidity grab right here. Tons of liquidity right here, meaning orders that are still needing to be filled right here because it barely touched that level and went back down. There's tons of liquidity, tons of orders here. That's why I brought price down so fast. So basically, I was waiting for this for a good setup, wait for this to take out all the liquidity here. Basically, it took out all liquidity here. Tons of liquidity here, meaning tons of selling orders. As you guys can see, tons of selling pressure every time it hits this level. And then boom, very fast trade, very simple. And again, this is in a supply zone because this bottom here is a demand, so this is supply. Super high quality setup right here. This is really high quality trade right here. So again, super high quality trade. Risk reward was magnificent on this trade, and it hit take profit. Basically, I had take profit one right here because this is a certain level that I had marked before. I deleted the level, but I had this level marked before because of multiple touches everywhere. You know, it's acting as support and resistance, which is very key and crucial. Even back here, as you guys can see, rejections, things like that, bouncing on and off. So super key level. This was take profit one. Take profit one was essentially a 1.5, 1.6 risk reward take, which is excellent. And then my final take profit was down here, but I would have targeted here. The issue is, don't forget, we are in a bull market, so we cannot be targeting all the way down here. I mean, we can, but as you guys can see previously, it rarely ever, once it got into this deep into the zone, it rarely ever went back all the way down here. So I didn't want to put my target too far, but that would have been my full target if price did continue going down. It did not continue down. I saw this reversal right here. Not a good looking wick right here, honestly. If you go to the 5-minute as well, let's see the 5-minute. You know, I mean, this isn't a full bull engulfing candle, but or engulfing candle. However, you know, it's just not a good sign right here. I already knew momentum was slowing down. That's another major thing. You want to look at live price action. So I got out around here for the final sell. Excellent trade right here. This is 42% on your position. If you're using a times 100 leverage, this is 85%. Literally almost full of whatever you put in. And you're only risking 20% here. Here you're only risking 12% to make 42%. Man, these risk reward ratios are crazy, let me tell you. This is another trade I took later. Honestly, kind of broke my rules here, honestly. I'm not supposed to even be trading during non-volatile hours. Again, I found a really good setup here. Triple top. Like, come on, can't get anything better than this. when you see a triple top, most likely it will reverse, because the fact that it's been hit 3 times and still hasn't been broken, that level is super strong. Again, we do have liquidity around this area, don't forget. So I took this trade. Again, I was waiting for this break. Honestly, I should have waited a little bit down here for this break level right here, because this would have been a key level to break. But again, I waited a little bit. I waited for it to break, and then it retested this level, so I got in, and then it never hit my full target, honestly. But again, I do take partials when needed. So I noticed, again, low volatility. It's basically almost after hours. You shouldn't be looking for a full 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. It's not going to happen. So I took most of my profits around this area right here. Never really had a runner going, honestly, because I saw it was just consolidating here. It's not a good look when it consolidates like literally up here for some reason, rather than consolidating down here. Really consolidating up here, it's not moving, and it's just really dead. As you guys can see, volume died off. So therefore, I took most of my profits there, and that was it. That was wraps. Did not decide to have a stop loss. Well, I basically had my stop loss at break even. That's what you guys were wondering. Basically took it actually a bit more profits, so I didn't let the runners actually break even, because I just saw this trade was not working out. So which is all good, because this is a 1 to 1.5 risk reward ratio, not bad at all. But again, super nice trades. Again, another pair of trades I did here. This is a super small trade. Again, after 2 o'clock, low volatility for sure. Entered here, was in drawdown for a good amount, and it eventually led to a 1-to-1 risk to reward roughly. So yeah, that was a solid okay trade. Again, this is why I don't trade after hours. This one's was sick trade though. This one, of course, after 6 p.m, right when it reopens again, usually just big moves for some reason. So as you guys can see, big pump right here. I basically got out here. I didn't really want to hold for this long. It was just really moving sideways here at this point. So got in before the break happened, and I just waited and took profits there. So basically 4-0, nothing crazy, guys. But the 2 winners will definitely cover a lot of losses if those ever do happen to you guys. So major dubs today. So that's gonna be it for honestly today's review. Guys, enjoyed, definitely make sure to subscribe, leave a like down below. I will be doing a full course review soon. I will be releasing a full course. I'm currently in the progress of working on that and pricing and all that, and making it basically affordable for all of you guys and accessible. So if you guys are interested, definitely make sure to have notifications turned on. And that's it for me, boys. See you guys later. Peace.